What's up, guys? I hope y'all are doing well. Today we're going to be looking in Ableton at a beat that I made that is going to be available for free on my website, jasonbeats.com. This one was done, as I said, in Ableton. I'm primarily a Logic user, but I wanted to get back to Ableton to see if I can just get a different sound out. It came out pretty chill, as usual, but slightly with a little uniqueness in there. We use Serum, Reactor 6, and Contact, as well as Battery and a few effect samples from the Fabian Missouri and Cashmere packs from Splice. And so if y'all are ever looking for really good samples, by all means I really encourage y'all to go look at Splice or any cool presets from your favorite producers. So that's enough talking. We'll go ahead and get into it so you can hear the beat, and if you like it, by all means stick around to see how we went about making this one. And let's go.
Get it, James.
And that is it. That's the beat. So I hope you guys, enjoyed that. We're able to vibe with it and groove with it. If you weren't, it's all good. Not all music's for everyone. But if you were feeling it, we're gonna go ahead and get into how it was made right now. So I encourage you to stick around and see. Maybe you might, learn something new or something different, or do something. So let's go ahead and go back into the DAW now, and you'll be looking at Ableton with me now. So what we're doing here is, this is the way it started off. It actually started off pretty simple. We had this one melody. I went ahead and loaded up. I believe I had just gotten some preset packs from from Splice for Serum, and I loaded it up, and sure enough, it was from the Vibes 2 kit, ABVC preset Serum 2. And this thing was so dope. When I heard the pack, I was like, yo, I gotta get all the shit up in here. It was like 400 credits, but it was so cool. And I didn't even end up getting it all. I just went through and got the stuff that I wanted the most, but I did get all the presets. And this is what it sounds like. Okay, so sorry guys. So that was a chord progression. progression, very simple chord progression. It was something like it's not working. It's like very simple in the key of F sharp minor, D major, E major, and then we have F sharp major 7th, or F sharp minor 7th. And after we had that, we then went ahead and came down here and added this bass line. This one, no, it was a battery. I wanted to add like snares in the background, and so we ended up adding these snares, and you'll hear this right here. So it kind of sounds a bit out of tempo, but I'll play with the metronome on. That's it. And after we had the snare, that came from battery. I just froze it down because I was gonna work. I prefer to work with my drums in audio versus MIDI, but it did come from battery, and I believe I utilized one of the Vibin Missouri snares in order to get that sound out. Now we'll go ahead and go down, and again, this is another snare audio clip, and I'll just go ahead and play the percussion all together. So we have the percussion here. We have, I have the drums right here. So we'll solo the drums, and this will be what the drums were for the chorus. Very groovy, very relaxing. I didn't quantize any of this. I just kept it very natural to preserve a groove. Very simple, and it repeats that for the verse. Can't wait to get my hands on a Machine Micro or Ableton Push 2, so I can finger drum that, because I was playing it on the keys, and these keys, the Native Instruments keys, are fantastic, but beat pads are definitely be beneficial for these types of purposes. And so that was for the verse drums, and the verse chord progression is actually played the same progression as the intro with the Serum preset that I initially showed you. It just duplicates. So when you add that together in context, we will have the chord progression plus the drums. So smooth, so smooth. And the cool thing about this preset in Serum is there's this 8th note pulsating thing going on under. And originally it was like some real odd tempo, but I had to go in there and fix it, tweak it up to get it to fit the tempo and rhythm and feel of the track. But now we're gonna go ahead and go into what we have here. I went ahead and added a piano in there as well, and it plays around the same chord progression. It's just got more movement. It's movement note wise. So I'll go ahead and play that now. This is for verse 1. This plays with the Serum preset and the drums together. And it adds the top end. So again, when I played this, when I was done with it, I didn't quantize it because I wanted to keep this a natural feel to it. It's very important. It was very important from the get-go. Once I played these drums, that this had to be raw, unquantized, as perfect to natural as it can be. Not perfect to quantized rhythms, but perfect to being a natural performance. So I wanted to go ahead and preserve that. And my favorite thing about that piano when I played it was the ripples. That little ripple that I did, it was just beautiful. It was like, back into it. That was beautiful. That was my favorite part. So we've got that, and then we go ahead and go down the list, and we are now at this little sucker right here. Actually, we're gonna go ahead and do the reactor first. So the bass line I went ahead and added was this reactor, and I'm gonna play. I bounced it and froze it down to audio because I wanted to work with audio and with the bass line as well. But to sum it up, I used Monarch within Reactor to record my bass line, and I went ahead and used my own preset and then just tweaked it up a bit. And this is what we ended up with. Sorry, I still have the keys up. This is what we said. Turn on the lights. It's very loose, not very on the beat. It's slightly off by maybe about 10 to 20 milliseconds. And that was very important for me because, again, it's all about preserving that groove. So when we play that with the chord progression up here, and it's like they're dancing together in a very klutzy waltz way, and I dig that. It really works with the feel. So when we put that in context, we have the foundation of our track now. So we'll go up here, we'll do drums, and we'll do that, and this is what we have so far. Beautiful. The last thing we needed, or one of the last things I ended up adding, and this one I was on the wall about, honestly, about keeping. I'm glad I kept it. It was this serum lead. It sounds like this. I was very on the wall about having that, but it actually worked out pretty nice once I added it. And we ended up with this as the primary result of what we have for this track. I'll go ahead and play it now. That's it for the first half of the first verse. The next part that comes is kind of what gets stuck in your head, and it's a very important part. This one right here is contact. I busted out Native Instruments as contact, and in particular, the main feature was right there, una corda. I'm sorry, una corda, what the hell? Exhale. It was outputs exhale. This thing is just dope as hell, bro. Like, it's sick. Used the preset, the zoo, and then tweaked it up, the vocal engine, to where I liked it, worked with the pitch, and we ended up with this dope, awesome vocal kind of feature. And this is what it sounds like. So yeah, that's it. And as you can see here on the MIDI, it's not all quantized. It's like some of it landed on time and some of it didn't. And that's because when I recorded it, I went strictly off of the feel. And when I was done, I said, I'm not quantizing this, because it had so much feel to it, and it worked like a clumsy, perfect waltz with all the other elements. They just worked together with their out of syncness and perfect tempo. It was like, I can't touch it. It came out just right. And that's our exhale vocal feature. It's kind of like a really cool Rachel K. Collier effect. She does a lot of cool vocal stuff like this, so yeah, I had to go with it. And if we put that in context with the rest of the second half of the verse, we end up with this. Serum lead just sits at the bottom so beautifully with a vocal feature. I'll play them together so you can see. This was all about mixing and trying to get it to sit underneath without trying to take the attention but still add the feel, yet still be the predominant I guess you could say top end within the first half of the verse. Then add the bass. So yeah, that's that. And again, we just added a few more little effects for transitions, and just these are sample effects taken from the Vibes 2 kit on Splice, as well as actually all these are the Vibes 2 kit. I'll play them right here. Beautiful. Just such a beautiful arpeggiation and a way to transition. And we'll go ahead and go into our chorus now. Our chorus now is literally the same thing, except we added, let me see if that was frozen. We added 2 serums in order to give more texture to the track, and we added hi-hats, a different pattern of hi-hats, and a different chord progression too, as a matter of fact. Actually, was it? I believe, yeah, we rearranged the chords. It's the same chord progression, but it's rearranged, so we have inversions included in here now. So let's go ahead and just take a listen to that. We'll do the chord progression first. That with our new contact instrument, I'm sorry, not new contact, our new piano riff, which does have more movement, does slightly play differently. We have this right here. This one has a sustain out. We're just trying to use the sustain to create more ambience in the resonating tones. And so we have those two playing our chords, our serum and our piano. And then our percussion for this section of the song, our hook or verse, is going to be very simple. So the snare is actually a custom preset that I came up with. Very thick, very snappy. I love thick, snappy snares. I only use very simple monophonic ones, very sharp monophonic ones for like kind of fills and in the background. But I love thick, snappy ones on my 2s and 4s and my records and beats. So them hi-hats though, man, I was really happy in feeling them hi-hats. That was so cool. So it's got this, and what I did was I just took the first 4 16 note, what was it? Yeah, the first 4 8th notes, and I duplicated them over and took those 4 duplicated and dropped the velocity, so you get this real in and out feel of the hi-hats. And so again, the same vocal feature gets carried on over. The same, what else is it? The bass line actually gets sustained. We're not working on a groove anymore. Like in the first half of the first verse, it's just another sustained variation of the bass line. And we have this new serum here. I'll go ahead and solo it now. So with this one, what I wanted to do, and the most notable thing, is how I did this pitch bend right here. That's what kind of added this feel of, okay, we're going again, kind of like a roller coaster. You just reach the top, you're going down, you hit the bottom, and now you're going back up because we're going to take you to that chorus again. That's just one cool little trick and effect to get that chorus repeated without feeling like, oh great, nothing fancy about how we went into it, it's just straight into it, which could work, but in this one I wanted to make it more interesting. And I have this second serum here, And let's go ahead and play that. So this preset was sustained. I wanted to give it kind of a white noise. I felt like the chorus needed some white noise effects in there. So I went ahead and pulled out a serum, and I'll go ahead and look into what preset this was. I believe it might have been a Vibin Missouri. Oh, it's Kashmir's Pad Ethic. And this one really did a great job at providing a, like I said, white noise effect to give this part of the song more hype and more energy. That combined with the LFO and the same in sync pitch down bend, they just both work together to add some energy to this section of the track. So we'll go ahead and let's see if there were any effects that were added. Nope, there were no effects right there. I believe we covered everything in that section. So moving on, we'll get into, personally, this is my favorite section of the song. It's the verse 2. This uses a different bass line rhythm and a different melody, and it's got I'm sorry, not a different melody. It uses the same serum melody, but it's got a different bass line rhythm, and it works so groovy with the drums. So I'll go ahead and I just want to, for this one, I want to solo the drums and the bass line so you can hear exactly what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and start here. So groovy on that second half of the second verse. I love it. That sidechain compression is what I used, and man, it was so effective in giving it that feel, that kind of swinging, driving groove, that it was just like the dum dum dum. It was just so effective. One thing I was really impressed with was Ableton's compressor. It works so immaculately. I think I prefer it to Logic's compressor, but that's essentially the drums and percussion working together. Then of course we have the original chord progression from the verse 1 of our serum instance here, added that in, and we end up with what kind of gives the space, fills the space within the first half of this verse 2. And so that's, what kind of keeps the energy going in the first half of that second verse. And after we get past the groove, here's another few other things. We added some really cool samples. Again, we just took and recycled those initial 3 effects, and we just repositioned them for the second verse, and we end up with this right here. And it's that little exhaust effects. I'll go ahead and I'll solo that. They're all being soloed. Sorry guys, give me 1 second. Very simple in the background. I didn't want you to hear it, but I wanted you to feel it. And so we got that there. And then we have this exhale. This is actually me. What I did was, because my mic, I rewired some stuff and I didn't have it hooked up to record. And to be quite honest, I don't like recording in Ableton, period. Not audio, at least. I prefer to do it in Logic. But I was like, man, I don't want to have to record this thing. So what I did was I just grabbed my phone, I busted out the notes, and I just recorded myself saying, and I threw on some reverb, processed it a little, and in the project we end up hearing this. And it works really, really nice. I was impressed with how easily Ableton was able to help me make that fit into the track well through some processing. And let's go ahead and just listen to it from when you hear that. The beat tag. Again, we have in our favor here. This little, this arpeggiation. So good, works so well with this track, I think. And continuing onward, we have chorus 2. Before we get into the outro, I just want to note everything in chorus 2 is literally the same as chorus 1, with the exception of the fact that we added some extra hi-hats that were opening, they were open hi-hats and kind of closing a bit, and that sounds like this. This is the only variation I added differently. Very hidden in the background. Try to image process that out a bit, so that way it creates a sense of, hey, this is happening in the back, not in the forefront. And I did this so that way we can add a different element, because I always want to strive for each repetition of the chorus to have something new or be different in some way. And then 2, I wanted it to have more movement. I wanted to feel like we were moving a little faster within this section of the song, the final repetition of the chorus. And so that is literally the ending, not the ending, but the end, not even the end, but that is literally the only thing that is different from this chorus and the first. This chorus is twice as long. I just repeated the chord progression and the section twice. And after we exit this second and final chorus, we end up in the outro. And the outro itself is very mellow, very chill, as you'll see. Let's go ahead and take a listen 4 before, so that way we can get a feel for the transition. Let this back on. And that's it. That is it. That's the end of the beat. The way we did that is we just carried on the same vocal feature. We let the reverb of our Serum preset tail us out. And then we had our riser to kind of climax us to the end of that chorus section. So when we end up with literally almost everything stripped out, it feels much more dramatic. And then we have this, again, exhaust effects. And the last thing that I added to this track is going to be this Serum instance right here that's playing the same chord progression that you heard in the verse and in the intro. But it's a different sound, because without it, it sounds like this. It sounds pretty dry to me. It's just a bass line with the vocal feature, and that's it. And you have the reverb of the vocal feature trying to fill out the space and provide the sense of ambience, which it's not really doing that successfully. So I went ahead and I found a cool pad in Serum, and I added that in, playing the same chord progression from the intro and the verse, and we end up with this. This is what we end up with. I'll go ahead and solo the instrument itself. Very chill. So when we put it all together, we end up with. And that's it. That's how the track was made. That is it. We are done. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. like I mentioned, this one is going to be for free on my jsmbeats.com website. If you like the video or feeling the beat, please do consider liking the video. If you weren't feeling it and you didn't like the video, by all means, hit the dislike. It's all good. And if you have any comments or suggestions about how y'all would have produced them differently, what y'all would have done, please do leave them in the comments. I'd love to get y'all's feedback and see what y'all would have done. Maybe learn something from y'all. And lastly, if you enjoy the content that I've been putting out and you want to see more, please do consider hitting that subscribe button so that way we can stay connected and we can just keep moving on and learning together. Alright? I hope y'all have a good one, and until next time, take care. Peace, guys.